Welcome to Strong and Steady, where we talk about building strength, supporting your health, and choosing sustainable wellness for women in every season of life.
And I'm Brittany. I'm here with my co-host Jessica. She's a mom of 4 littles with such a grounded, realistic approach to balance for low-tox living. She helps busy moms build healthy habits that actually work in real life without perfection or overwhelm.
And I'm Jessica, here with Brittany, a woman's health and fitness coach who specializes in elite aging. She helps women build strong bones and muscles so they can live their whole lives to the fullest with confidence, strength, and independence.
And together, we have over 2 decades specializing in the health and fitness industry. So whether you're in the thick of young motherhood
or focused on staying strong for the long run,
we are so glad you're here.
Hey y'all, it's Brittany, and I am so excited that you are here for the Strong and Steady podcast. Today's topic is actually something that I am very, very passionate about because it has personally completely changed my life. And if you live under a rock, you probably have never heard of it, but I'm pretty sure none of y'all live under a rock. And that is literally about gut health. And, you probably have heard it in passing, whether it's a conversation or an ad that you've seen, but we are going to go over what gut health has personally helped us. Like I said, it has been life-changing for me. We're going to go over what it is correlated to and also like how to help fix it. Because it is possible. There are so many things. Now, the cool thing about gut health is that it's actually correlated to like legit everything. When I say that, I mean, I'm not even joking. It's to everything. So here are a few fun facts. So that way, this is why it is extremely important and why we cannot miss this topic. So the human gut contains around 38 to 40 trillion microorganisms. So that we're talking about bacteria, fungi, viruses, and other microbes. There's also over 1,000 different species of bacteria that can live in the gut microbiome. Your gut microbiome weighs about 2 to 5 pounds, which roughly is the weight of your brain. So when we talk about the gut-brain axis, that's kind of like correlated to that also. So around 70 to 80% of the immune system is actually located in the gut. Also about 90 to 90% of serotonin, which is, think about like your happy hormone, like that makes you happy, relaxed, calm. It affects your mood, sleep, and emotional well-being. So it's actually produced, in the gut. Your gut lining is literally only 1 cell layer thick. So definitely, yeah, that's super thin, and why it can be damaged very quickly. So, and it also affects the rest of the body. So research links gut health to immune function, hormone balance, metabolism, and weight. So if you are having a hard time like losing weight or even gaining weight, it could be correlated to your gut health. There's also inflammation, skin health, brain health, and mood, even autoimmune conditions. So poor gut health has been associated with things like chronic inflammation, leaky gut, food sensitivities, fatigue, anxiety or depression, skin issues, nutrient deficiencies, all the things. So now that we have gone through those, one thing that I will say is that, we've always heard like you are what you eat, but it really boils down to you are what you absorb. So Jessica and I, we are going to go over gut health for you, and break it down into really like simple terms because you don't need to know all the science behind it, but you do need to know enough to where you can fix it and to where you can actually feel better in your own skin. So Jessica, let me ask you this. When did you first start realizing gut health, and how it was affecting your overall health?
So, ironically, I'm actually one that I didn't realize I needed gut health until I was already doing things to help my gut. So, what kind of opened my eyes to gut health was actually I was wanting to jump into the business side, and my friend was sharing about it and like probiotics. I was like, yeah, everyone needs a probiotic. Everyone needs like a daily multivitamin, and that was kind of that. Like when I told my parents, told my family, told my at the time fiance, now husband, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this business and it's for health. They kind of laughed at me, to be honest, because they're like, you, like, okay. But as I started taking these products and learning more about gut health, like my eyes were really opened. I was noticing like more energy. My dad was actually the first one to point out to me that it was improving my mood as well. And then it was helping my immune system. I was at that time, second grade teacher. Next year, I was first grade teacher. And so I was around kids, I was around germs, I was around it
It's
all.
like it's a cesspool of germs, is
It
what it
really
is.
is. You know, the sneezing, the coughing, the wiping the snot. I mean, it was preparing me for motherhood, but my body at that time was not ready for it. I remember my first year teaching before I started focusing on my gut. Like February came and I got that sickness. So I'm also a type 1 diabetic, so it's already like attacking my immune system. And those kids, I started getting it and I got it and I kept it and I kept it. And it was like 3 weeks it hung out. Ended with me losing my voice. So I had to take off work because trying to teach little kids with no voice does not work very well. And so I had to take, I think it was like 2 days off of work. And so that was February. And May, I actually started the gut health system and working on my gut. And then fast forward the next year in about February, I got kind of that same sickness. However, this time it lasted about a week instead of 3 weeks. Didn't get very bad, didn't have to take off work, never lost my voice. And so just kind of seeing those changes really opened my eyes to like, hey, like I need to continue focusing on my gut health. Yes, for me, for my husband, but also for our future kids. And so that's kind of what really opened my eyes to it all.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, what would you say now that you're like looking back? Because you had mentioned you're like, yeah, I didn't
Hmm.
know about gut health until I was like literally doing it. But looking back, what were some things that you've actually like noticed have changed, like besides your mood and everything?
Hmm. I definitely was at that point where I just thought I was welcome to adulthood. Like all these things were just a part of becoming adult, and lower energy, not being able to sleep well. Again, the immune system, things like that. Just kind of being cranky. PMS time, definitely. Oh, that's the other one. Oh my goodness. So in college, I had awful cramping. Like first day of my period, I could not move. And it wasn't something that was like it had always happened. It started in college, which, makes sense. College, you're not sleeping, you're eating a lot more sugar, freshman 15, all of that. And I mean, it was so bad. The first time it happened, I was home for college or Christmas break, and I remember texting my mom like from my bed. I was like, "Can you bring me Tylenol? Like, I need it now, or Motrin, something." And my dad opens my door, well, knocked and opened my door. It was like middle of the day, and he was like, "Seriously, you can't get up and get it?" And he looked at me and he was like, "Oh, you cannot move." I was like, "No." And like they almost took me to the ER, but like I got the Motrin in me, relaxed some, and it passed. And from then on, it was like first day of my period, those cramps hit. I was throwing up. There was one day in college, I literally after class sat on the bathroom floor texting friends like, "Can you come pick me up? Can you grab my car keys and come pick me up?" And like everyone was busy and I just sat on the bathroom floor because it was so bad. And then I started noticing as I was working on gut health, it was getting better and better. And then I learned too, like magnesium. If you're lacking magnesium, like that can affect it. And so upping that around the time. But I mean, looking back, like that was a miserable time. Every time I knew I was going to throw up, I had to crawl into bed and I could not move for at least an hour, probably two or three.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is so miserable. I remember before I had started working on gut health, like I was eating healthy, I was a trainer, and I was dating or like my husband at the time, and it was the funniest thing because he did not grow up with sisters, so he never knew
Oh.
about the monthly Aunt Flo coming to visit type of a thing. And so he was visiting and I had started my period, horrible cramps, back pain, like moodiness. I just felt horrible. Like I was literally just like, just kill me. Just take me
Mhm.
out. And so we're driving somewhere and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And he goes, "Do you want to break up with me?" And
Oh.
I'm like, "No." And then that was it. Like, I was just like, "No, what are you, an idiot?" And then
Uh,
he's like, "Well, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "Well, if you must know, I'm on my period." And it's funny though, because it's like, we think that that's completely normal.
mhm.
But even though it's common doesn't mean that it has to be normal.
Right.
And having these horrible menstrual cycles, that's not normal. That should not
Nope.
be normal. It should come and should go
Mhm.
and really doesn't affect you that much.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's amazing how gut health is correlated to that because it is correlated to hormone balance.
Yeah.
But that's, yeah, that's crazy. I know
Yeah.
all the women are like, okay, like, where's your number? I need,
Yep. I know, like,
I need
now
better
I'm like,
menstrual cycles.
"Oh, snap, like, it's starting, where's my pads?" Versus, like, then, like, I knew it was coming because I was cramping, and that was actually partly, too, how I figured out I was pregnant because I was, like, taking Tylenol for, like, a week, preparing for it to come because I hadn't learned, like, to up my magnesium yet to help
Right.
even more, and then I was like, "Wait, it's been a week. It's normally, like, 2, 3 days." Lo and behold, I was pregnant, but, like, yeah. Now it's to the point I'm like, up that magnesium before it comes. I'm good because I know when it's coming, but also I'm usually surprised too because I'm like, oh, that's the date. Like, yep, okay, here we go.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, that's awesome. And um yeah, I mean that's crazy. And I know for us women we're like, please just do
Hmm.
anything for better menstrual
Oh,
cycles.
yes.
And it's crazy how gut health truly is correlated to
Oh,
that.
yeah. So, what would you say, like for you, what made you start paying attention to your gut health?
So, funny story. I'm very stubborn, but so I'm trying to think back when I was in high school, I had gotten bronchitis and it literally never went away.
Mm.
Like I was like you, like 3 weeks later, and I'm still sick, still have a fever. And I was like, what is going on, And my mom, she was very sick back, like I guess you could say in the early 90s, early 2000s. And so she went gluten free, dairy free, and literally like healed her gut. And so when I'm in high school and I'm sick and I can't get rid of this, she was like, "Brittany, just go gluten free and go dairy free, go sugar free." So I did that for a month and I felt so much better. And so I was like, okay, well this is great. And so I was feeling really good and everything. And something had happened with like hormone shifts, I guess, like as I got older. Well, then and I had always had like irregular periods. I was the person that it was like, it would go 2 months or 3 months without one.
Mhm.
And it was just like, is it PCOS? Like, what is it? Went to doctors, nobody had answers. But then, so I'm gluten free, dairy free, sugar free. I'm eating Whole30, like strict paleo, never steered clear or never steered off course basically. But then I was still having like super bad cystic acne. And then I was super, super tired, like all the time. So I was living off of coffee. Like I kid you not, I was having half a pot of coffee a day. Like my dad and I, we would split it in the morning. And then I was still having like a bang energy just to get through my classes with work and everything. And and then my friend Kim, she was like, "Hey Brittany, I think you have a gut health problem." And I'm thinking like, no, all you need is diet and exercise. That's it. Like I'm eating probiotic rich foods, I'm eating sauerkraut, all that stuff. And it still never worked. And so like 2 years later, she was like, hey, just try it out for a month. Just do this.
Hmm.
And so I did. And the funny thing was my friend and I, we were walking down the hallway to go visit one of the elderly people in our church at the hospital. And she had even said, Brittany, what are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, your skin, like it's completely cleared up. Like it looks great. Like, what are you doing? I need it. And then we're walking down the hallway, and this complete stranger goes, ma'am, you have the most beautiful skin. And
Oh.
by the way, disclaimer, my skin was horrible back then. Like, it was like people were literally like, are you okay, Brittany? Because I was breaking out so bad,
Hmm.
even though I was eating extremely clean. And so when that happened, I was like, I called my friend Kim and I was like, yeah, it works. It works really well. Thank you. And so like I haven't missed it a day at all. And then even like you were talking how you were a teacher. Well, so I married my husband, or fiance and everything. And then he kept getting sick. And the funny thing was that we would go to Roadhouse, like Texas Roadhouse, and he would always eat the what is it, the not the biscuits but the
The
rolls,
rolls.
like oh,
Oh, they're so
like oh
good.
my gosh, so good. And then mid, like before we would even get our food, he was like, I don't feel so good, Brittany, like let's go home. And we're brand new married, and I'm thinking like, does he not like me? Like he just married me, does he not like me? What is wrong? And then I finally convinced him. I was like, dude, it's your gut health. So we started working on his gut health, and he has never needed to lose weight in his life. Like I hate him for it because I'm like, I look at a donut and I gain 5 pounds.
Uh-huh.
He can eat a box of donuts and lose 5 pounds. But when we saw, like literally like 90 days later, we were after this, I was flipping through pictures trying to find something, and I was like, Micah, like look at you. And I like compared both of the pictures, and he was blown away because that
Mhm.
inflammation, like he just looks like he was puffy, like he had a puffy face. But again, he had no weight loss, no weight gain, nothing. He literally just that inflammation went down literally just from gut health.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I think too we forget a lot of times, or at least like in our business, we see a lot of the testimonies from like the woman, but yeah, the husbands too. I mean, Spencer. So I started a month and a half before we got married, and he was like, "Yeah, do whatever, that's fine." And as we got closer, he's like, once we get married, you're not doing this," which I will say slightly surprised me because he was the health person. Like he was the one ordering some other supplements and like eating well. He was the health person. I was like, yeah, 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 I know. And on the honeymoon, I said, "Here, drink this. Here, take this." And every day, I just kept giving it to him. That by the time we got home, he's like, "All right, let's use our wedding money and we'll figure out the budget, but we're going to keep ordering this," because like he was starting to feel better. He was feeling more energized, sleeping better, and all of that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, and it's amazing at how I think you had mentioned earlier about how it's affecting the future generations.
Hmm.
Like I think like back to my childhood, not that it was bad or anything, but we just didn't know. We
Hmm.
like I had Totino's pizzas
Oh,
and
so
Pop
good.
Tarts
Yeah.
and all the things, and we just never knew.
Hmm.
And then it's like, but as we've gotten older, and I have to say like my mom, the fact that she got sick, and I'm not saying like, oh, praise the Lord, she's sick, but because she got sick and she dug deep, because the doctors were just telling her like, it is what it is, take medication, I don't know what's wrong with you. But when she got to the root of the problem through gut health, it has completely changed not just her life, but my life. And then because of that, then it's the ripple effect that we got my dad eating healthy, and now he does CrossFit. Now he's like, I don't know, he can probably outrun most of the 20-year-olds type of a thing. And then and then now my sister, she's crunchy, and then and it's just that ripple effect.
Hmm.
And now it's like now I know what to do with my daughter and my husband, and then now that's even helping his parents.
Hmm.
And so it's so cool to see how it really does when we get to that root of the problem, and that we, I guess you could say, stop playing the victim.
Hmm.
Like saying, no, there is something. something more to this. I need to learn what it is and let's go and fix it.
Hmm.
And I heard it from a doctor the other day. I was listening to Dr. Josh Axe, and the doctor that he was interviewing, he said it's like we need to stop just injecting synthetically with stuff like medication,
Hmm.
shots, or whatever. He's like, but our goal is with our diet, with our supplementation, with the way that we move, with the way that we're outside, getting vitamin D, it needs to get us back to where God created us. And
Hmm.
what, like, you think about instead of just taking something for high blood pressure, like a beta blocker, he's like, no, we need to figure out why you're having that high blood
Hmm.
pressure. Okay, you're eating a whole bunch of crap that's processed.
Yeah.
And so it's like just changing that perspective will change your family. It has changed our families, and it can literally change future generations to
Hmm.
where we're not dealing with all these health problems that we are currently dealing with.
Yeah, it's the difference like between putting a band-aid on it and healing the wound. Like most people, if a wound's infected, you're not just going to keep putting a band-aid on it. You're going to treat it at its source. And it's
Hmm.
the same thing with our gut. Because we hear a lot too, like the gut is the second brain of our body. Like as we mentioned in the beginning, so many things are held in the gut or related to the gut, and when it's out of whack, like we are out of whack.
Hmm.
What would you say are some of the biggest misconceptions about gut health?
That it's only the digestion, that's
Mhm.
it, that you just need a gut cleanse, that you just need a colon cleanse or whatever. No, it's literally like you think about, we talk about it a lot in our industry about weed, seed, and feed.
Yep.
Like we have to weed out the bad. You can't grow good grass if you constantly have all these weeds. Like you have to pull
Mhm.
those weeds out of your garden. And then you have the seed part where we need to put the good bacteria back in. We need to put the good soil, the good seeds and everything. Like you're not just gonna be like, okay, I weeded everything out. I need okay, corn's gonna grow or
Yeah.
roses are gonna grow or whatever. Like, no, you gotta plant those things. And then you also have to feed. So you need, you know, even more good bacteria. It's like fertilizing your ground so that way it's going to grow. And then also like I said, it's not just your digestive tract and everything, but it's your liver. That's part of your gut health. It's very, very important to help your entire detox system in order to have better gut health. And then also, like you have to take, like, to be honest, as a health and nutrition coach, you do need a good quality probiotic.
Mhm.
We think a lot of times like, oh, I can just get it out of like plants and everything. But the fact is that we have so many herbicides, pesticides, and then um like glyphosate, everything is sprayed on these. And even if they're organic, they're still being picked like before they're actually ripe. And that's the problem is like, I can go to HEB or Kroger or, to your grocery store and I can get all this fresh stuff. But the fact is that it has been picked before it's actually ripe. So then you're not getting all the nutrients that you should.
Mhm.
And so then we have soil depletion. So there's so many different things. And it's not just like, okay, I'm going to go to GNC or Walmart and get a probiotic. No, it has to be really good strains of that good bacteria of those probiotics. But you also have to have a digestive enzyme. Because we all have can or like we all have yeast in our gut. Like there's a good amount of yeast
Mhm.
that we all have to have. Um, but what happens is whenever we eat all of this processed food, we eat, we're eating stuff that has herbicides, pesticides, glyphosate. We're drinking water that has glyphosate in it. We're breathing in air and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Then it's literally expanding, and then we can have too much yeast. We can have excess yeast, and that's what's causing the inflammation, the skin issues, rashes. I mean, autoimmune disease, everything is those bad bacterias. And so that digestive enzyme is going to help get rid of the bad bacteria while you are putting the good bacteria back in with that probiotic. And then also you have to like magnesium. I think I saw it. I literally was just seeing it on Instagram of like, yeah, here's all of the things with magnesium deficiency. And I'm like, yeah, that's like
Mhm.
almost everything.
Yeah, I've
And
seen like
so,
I have 99 problem or I have 100 problems and magnesium took care of 99 of them. And
yeah,
like it's
yeah,
so true.
it's so true. It's so true. And so it's like you do need a magnesium and that's going to help you weed out your garden. And then you need a good prebiotic. So you have probiotics and prebiotics. There's also postbiotics, which are more like fermented foods and stuff. And then, but with that prebiotic, it's that food for the good bacteria. So we're not just, we're actually going in and teaching your body, hey, we need to produce more good bacteria so we can feel better, so we can thrive, so we can actually like literally our body is actually like working like it should. Like,
Hmm.
have you ever not changed the oil in your car? Like, if you don't change the oil in your car is going to die. And it's literally like that with our bodies.
Yeah. And I think too, like it's important to remember it's not an instant change. Like it didn't take our body, a night to get bad. Like this is years of kind of not taking care of our gut that it's not going to be fixed in a night, in a week. Like you were saying with the garden metaphor, you plant a seed, it's not going to be like a full tree the next day. I mean, flowers take weeks, take months to grow. Trees take what, years to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with our gut. Like it's going to be time. And I know with myself and with a lot of people, we say it's like the onion effect. Like, okay, maybe a few weeks in, you start to see digestion's getting better and you see kind of this layer come off. But then a couple more months later, you're starting to see new things that are improving. And even a year or two later, like something else is improving now. And it's all because of that consistent work with our gut.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what, besides like supplements, what would you say are some daily habits that support a healthy gut microbiome?
Yeah, so one thing that you can do is collagen. Collagen is very good for that gut lining. And then I personally I drink bone broth every single morning. I You can make your own bone broth. I am in the process of that. I have a 1-year-old at the house, so extra
Yeah,
isn't always
yeah.
possible. But it's very simple to make and everything. But I just get the organics from HEB non-salted. I prefer the unsalted because a lot of times they just put crappy salt in there. And I'm very, very particular about like what type of salt that I do. So I'll like heat up some bone broth and then I'll put some Celtic sea salt for the minerals. And that is honestly really good for detoxifying and absorption, like nutrient absorption.
Mhm.
So I definitely suggest bone broth is really good. And then another very simple, literally free thing is breathing before you start eating. Because you think about this, especially as moms and as women, like we're going from here to here to here, and then our brain is constantly going. And then as we're sitting down to eat, we're thinking. And then I don't know about you, but I have not been able to sit down and eat in over a year
No.
because it's like I'm either breastfeeding while I'm eating or
Or as soon as you
or
sit down there, like, I need a cup. Oh, I dropped my fork. You're,
yeah, yeah.
want a bite of
Or like
food.
I know. I was like even last night, my baby, I put some yogurt, I put some applesauce, and I put some other stuff on her plate, and she starts patting
Oh,
it,
yeah.
and so it's literally flying
All over the
everywhere.
walls,
And
all
my
over the
I know,
windows, the tables, the
and
floor.
I know, and my husband was like, "Do you see what she's doing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to sit down and eat. She's entertained." But then it's like, okay, I didn't even get like 2 bites in. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, it's bath time. Like, let's
Yep.
go. But and we're constantly like thinking about things. Like I don't know about you, but I can't turn my brain off. It doesn't work. And so when we breathe, it's actually helping our body to go in from that fight or flight mode to the rest and digest. Because if
Hmm.
you are constantly running, constantly stressed, your body literally just stops because the digestion, that's its last concern. Like you're thinking about your fight or flight is like running from a bear. Well, you're not gonna be like, oh man, I gotta stop and go to the bathroom. No, 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 no. Everything stops and then you're like, okay, we're in survival mode. And so when we breathe, so you want to think like breathe in your nose, you're gonna count to 4, close your eyes, hold it for about 4 seconds, and then you're actually going to breathe out and you're going to do 6 seconds. So you want that breathing out. That's when we can really get into that rest and digest. And so you want that a little bit longer than you're breathing in. And I would say do that about 4 to 6 times. Pray, just try to calm down. And I will say this is like teach your kids how to do that too.
Hmm.
It's like we need to slow down, pray, be thankful, and breathe. It's okay. Your food's not running away from you. One thing we were laughing with years ago when I was working with my dad, he was my senior project to lose weight and exercise and everything. I was like, Dad, why do you hork your food down? Like, stop horking it down. And he was like, I don't like cold food. I was like, what did you just say to me? and so I was like, so our code word when I would like watch him eat and he would start to like hork it down, I'm like, Dad, eat cold food. And he's like, breathe. so so I would say breathing is an amazing technique for your gut health. Sleeping, y'all, do not skip out on sleep. That is so important for your body to recover and to digest. You can also look on our Instagram, and I put up how to do a vagus nerve exercise. It's very simple, and this helps your body get back into that homeostasis also. So you can check us out and figure out that it's a very simple move that takes less than a minute to do. So that's really, really good for your gut health also, because that vagus nerve and your digestive tract is literally all correlated together.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And as you were saying too, like the breathing, right before you said it, I was like, oh, I probably should teach the kids to do that too. Because half the time they're sitting down, I'm like, don't eat yet, wait for us all to sit down. Like, because I want to be able to eat and finish before they do. Otherwise,
Right.
I still don't get a sit. But I'm like, okay, yeah, we definitely need to work on that. But yeah, all of that was super, I always find it super interesting. I was just telling friends earlier this week, I was like, you asked me about gut health, I can talk for hours on end about it. But just kind of as we're closing too, a few kind of things to remember is that gut health affects almost everything in your body, every system. I say generally, if you're having a health issue, first check your gut. Like you can even Google gut health and, wart, sleep, skin, digestion, mood, whatever it is.
Autoimmune, yeah, all of
Even
it.
allergies, like gut health and I'd say probably 99% of the time it pops up saying, yeah, like fixing your gut could help that. But it's also, remember, it's not a quick fix. Like it is a journey. It does take time. It didn't take us a night to get unhealthy. It's not going to be healed in a night as well. Also, supplements, they are super helpful, but you also want to look at your food, your lifestyle, and especially your stress management. I know nowadays that can definitely be a hard one, especially with kids, but also just the way our world is. But learning to manage that stress is such a huge help as well. And so just supporting your gut is really one of the most foundational things you can do for long-term health. It's so important. And if you're wanting some help with this, check our show notes. We will link one of our just kind of gut health assessments. You can connect with one of us and we can talk with you more about it. You can also message us on Instagram. We're there. And like we said, we both love this so much and we are so passionate about it that we would be so happy to talk with you about it more. And so with that, we'll sign off. That way we don't talk for hours about it, but we will see you next time. We want to leave you with one last thought from 3 John 1:2. Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you and that you may be in good health as it goes well with your soul. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. If this episode resonated with you, we'd love for you to come hang out with us over on Instagram. You can find us at The Strong and Steady. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe and share this episode with a friend. We'll see you next time on Strong and Steady.